Greetings, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Corsair Summer Tour 2013. I'm LD, he's Luminous, and we're going to cast Virtus Pro versus Dignitas, best of 3, our third of 4 round 1 winners bracket matches. It's the $10,000 tournament. Lumi, thanks for joining me.
No problem here. I'm actually glad to go back a little bit of Western Dota. Haven't seen them for quite a bit, and looks like we do have some quite interesting picks.
Yeah, on that note, we can hop inside the draft, guys. Of course, this is game 1 of a best of 3. Virtus Pro, the draft well underway, have banned out a Wisp, a Batrider, a Naga, and a Weaver, selecting a Nature's Prophet, a Chen, a Vengeful Spirit, the interesting one for me, as well as a Spectre. Kind of a push strat, but backed up by a late-game Spectre. On the side of Dignitas, they've banned out Treant Protector, Lifestealer, Morphling, a lot of these hard-to-kill carries, the Shadow Demon as well, and then they've selected a Darkseer, Visage, Nyx Assassin, and Leshrac.
So when you have heroes like Spectre and Nature's Prophet, the natural, I guess, assumption to make is that, hey, it doesn't do much early on.
Yeah.
I think this team is actually deceptively powerful early, simply because Vengeful Spirit and Chen is such a good dual roamer together. Nature's Prophet could sacrifice a little bit of his early game farm by teleporting in. Spectre, once he gets his quick level 6, is going to join the fray. So
right.
Virtus Pro is going to give you a maybe 5 minute of no rush time, if you will, and then they just go.
No rush 5.
Right, no rush 5. And for Team Dignitas, they have these sort of early game hero, Leshrac, Nyx Assassin, but you know their playstyle. They love to play greedy. They love to farm 4.5, maybe even 5 players at once. So that means Team Dignitas is not going to do much early on, and that will allow Virtus Pro to kind of dig holes in their strategy.
Looks like we do have a 3-man disconnect here, but Way Too Sexy is back in the game, so shouldn't be a remake.
So I think Virtus Pro's hero lineup actually matches quite well against Team Dignitas, and they really need to adjust. They can't be too greedy early game. They have some really good aggressive hero, Visage, Nyx Assassin, Leshrac. And if I'm not mistaken, I think this is going to be a farming Visage, right?
It could be a solo mid Nyx, in which case, yeah, probably a farming Visage, Leshrac +1 and a Trilane, and Darkseer is your other solo. Dignitas doesn't really have a carry yet, so we'll have to see what direction they go. There is a Gyrocopter in the pool. That kind of seems like the natural choice, one of the stronger aggressive Trilane carries that's left. I guess my main concern for Virtus Pro is their laning stage. Spectre, not a strong laner. Vengeful Spirit, a strong roamer, not a strong laner. Chen, not even in a lane. Prophet, not a strong laner. So they have 4 heroes that are not strong in the laning stage. Visage, Leshrac, Nyx, Darkseer, all these heroes are pretty strong, and I think the biggest concern is Virtus Pro, they want a 4 or 5-man fairly early, around like that 5 to 10 minute mark, take some towers, but they give away this Darkseer, a free 1v1 against Prophet. We've seen Universe do it time and time again. He is great at getting that mech. He's great at punishing the safe lane Prophets. It's his preferred matchup. He actually had an interview recently where he said, give me a Nature's Prophet safe lane, and I'll have some fun with that.
Yeah,
I'm paraphrasing, but he really likes that matchup.
Well, now you have nothing but aggression, it seems like, from Team Dignitas. We're going to see a Templar Assassin in the melee, featuring Snake King. He's one of the most aggressive TA player I know there. And now it's going to be a farming Leshrac instead.
Ooh.
I was quite sure that AUI is going to be handling that Visage, because since he was here casting the TI to...
you couldn't get another word out of his mouth except Visage.
Nothing but Visage. But it looks like we have a little bit of pause, and that's a good time to introduce our champions and heroes.
Our champions. Champions! Get out of here.
I meant the... Never mind.
Fire Lumi.
I'm not saving myself from that one.
Fire Lumi. Kawa just walked out on Lumi, by the way. He said, screw this, I'm out.
Yeah.
All right, we can introduce the teams now.
Yeah, sure. So for on the Radiant side, we have Team Dignitas. Looks like Leshrac is going to be handled by AEI 2000. Way Too Sexy is going to be playing a support Visage. We're going to have Snake King handling the Templar Assassin. Universe is going to be playing the Darkseer, one of his best heroes. Last but not least, Fogged is going to be handling the Nyx Assassin.
Yeah, Snake King, Templar Assassin, backed up by the Darkseer. This pair has had a lot of success for Dignitas in months past. I think the last time that we were casting them, they were running this pair quite a bit, and every game seemed to go well. So we'll see how the North American boys do, because they're up against the Russians. The Russians are coming. Illidan Stormrage, Airman, formerly known as, playing the Spectre. NS on the Chen, the Vampire indeed. Smile, or Arsart, on the Vengeful Spirit. 1,000 Suns. Oh God, who is it?
I have no clue.
Well, my memory is not too good here. Well, is this a stand-in? No, it's Tame My Wild. Okay, or Crazy. God, use your real name, man. I haven't cast enough Western Dota recently to keep you all straight. He'll be going solo mid as the puck, and last but not least, KSI. On one of, I think he's a very underrated offlaner, and I think this is one of his strongest heroes. Is that offlane Nature's Prophet?
It might be one of his strong hero, but like you said, it's one of Universe's favorite matchup, right? Darkseer versus these long lane.
And they predicted the lanes correctly.
Yeah,
he's getting that matchup.
And these are not exactly a kind of wacky lanes or of any sorts. And when you have a Spectre to lane against, you talked about the weak laning stage of VP. You want to throw that offensive trolling up top. You want to just harass so hard. They are being scouted by this Treant, though. Let's see if there's any type of adjustment here from Virtus Pro.
Yeah, they'll wait for the 0-minute rune, guys. It's about to come. It is, in fact, crazy. And the rune's going to spawn bottom. It'll be a regen rune for Universe. So safe lane Darks here against off-lane Nature's Prophet. Virtus Pro, not sure if they're expecting these lanes. Obviously, the Spectre needs a lot of help. I'm not sure what they can do. They have no defensive way to disengage from a tower dive. So if Dignitas are able to basically steal the pulls, block the pulls, push the wave, which you could definitely do with Leshrac. You see AUI 2000 rushing early rate of protection. What Dignitas probably is going to do here, get an early rate of Basilius at level 3 or so, start pushing the wave, dive the Spectre or the VS at the tower, and for VP, there's not a whole lot they can do against that if Dignitas execute correctly, unless the Chen comes in and makes some big plays. So NS starting with a Centaur, decent creep to help in the lane. We'll see what he looks to do, but a lot of how this tri-lane goes is actually not up to any of the heroes in the lane. It's up to NS in the jungle.
But here's the thing. NS is never going to have a good path to come in because there's a central or observer ward over here. There is an observer like you circle. So the only way that he could actually come in undetected is through a smoke at the seat, which he does not have right now. So I agree with you. They need a chance to actually make big plays, but unfortunately, he's not going to make those big plays because of those observer wards.
So as for the mid lane, it'll be Snake King on the TA against Crazy on the puck. Crazy has been pulled. He starts with the Null Talisman. Snake King not pulled at all, but he'll have a bottle soon. Generally, it seems the TA has a bit of an advantage in this matchup, but mostly comes down to individual play, and neither hero has an easy time finding kills against the other without backup. So far, so good for the puck. 5-5. Snake King only 2-0. Is struggling. The pooling definitely making a difference here.
Dignitas making some key mistakes up top here as this pool has gone off on by Smile, but they're not doing a really good job challenging it. They have 2-3 heroes missing last hit and allowing Smile get a ton of experience from that pool. That cannot happen when you're going offensive tri-lane, especially against a dual lane that doesn't do much. Here comes the Wild King Ripper, but that guy don't do anything, so...
You know, they're maybe just waiting for level 2 here, because this is not a very strong level 1 tri-lane. Visage, we'll see another mass disconnect. Well, Dignitas having some internet issues here. Obviously, Visage is very strong at level 1. But Nyx Assassin, a hero that you want at least level 2 on, I would say. Get access to the Monoburn or the Carapace, as well as Impale. And Leshrac especially. Just having Split Earth isn't that great. But once they hit level 2, they really should be contesting. They have a ward there. They see the pull when it's happening. I believe it's actually blocked now, but they placed it late. So... This ward blocks the camp, right?
I don't think it did.
Oh, does it?
Yeah, I'm pretty sure it was placed quite early.
Well,
so.
if it's not blocked, then they definitely should be contesting at level 2.
Yeah, I mean...
If they're not, that's a big mistake.
This ward is saying, hey, you guys could pull, but we're going to seal your pull every single time, but they did not seal it, so that's a little bit awkward. How are we doing on the bot lane here? As Universe does, like we said, have that 1v1 matchup. You can see that KSI being forced to get that early boost of speed. That's something of a necessity to run away from the Darkseer, especially when he's not Surge. But yeah, how's this lane going? It's 10-1 in favor of Universe.
This is just what Universe does.
Yeah.
He feasts on Nature's Prophets. Generally, it's a matchup that favors the Darkseer, but he has played this matchup so much, and he plays it so well. And especially when you're in the safe lane, what can the Nature's Prophet really do? Not only can Universe push the lane to the tower, but then he can freely go stack the pull, make the pull. He's going to have a very fast mech. And that means for Dignitas, they can fuel their aggression in the mid game. You talked about how they're an aggressive lineup. They should have the edge in the lanes, and then they want to continue to push the offensive. With an early mech on Universe, I'd say that's the #1 item they need above anything else to make that aggression work, and they're going to have it at the rate this is going. So overall, I think Dignitas not, like you said, not doing the best job of contesting the tri-lane, but as long as Snake King doesn't die mid and gets some levels, and Universe gets a fast mech, their mid game is still going to be very scary.
All right, they got that level 2 up top. They're going to open with a Grave Chill here. Fogdota getting position for Impale. He does lock it off, and there's going to be a stun coming up, and a ton of damage, and Soul Assumption comes off, and they do get that first blood. Easy picking here, and the rotation from support way too slow. And like you said, after they get level 2, it is go time, and it will be continue to be go time. Leshrac, if you look at him, 1,000 go, upgrade to the Basil, turns it off immediately, boots speed pickup. I think they're looking for maybe one more kill, and then the push will start to happen.
Looks like that ward actually doesn't block the pull. I thought it might just be in range, but it's not. So Smile will get to do a pull again. He's still getting a decent amount of levels out of this lane. And truth be told, it's kind of expected Dignitas will get a kill or two here. They shouldn't rest on their laurels. They should look to keep the aggression up and try and contest this pull as much as possible. Having full vision, having the level advantage, and now having the boots advantage in the tri-lane. Looks like they're going to do exactly that. Trying to snipe a Centaur now, posturing to be aggressive on Smile. And Smile doesn't have boots, so despite the Spectre dying, it's really the Vengeful Spirit who's in the most danger.
Oh, that Centaur. What a stomp. And the Magic Missile goes off as well. Fog does not have boots of speed, and right now AI 2000 a little bit too slow. My god, that Centaur stomp saved his life, or maybe he does it though. Looking for a splitter. That's going to miss. A send back here comes from NS, and that's going to be a good disengage. Dignitas 3 people off the lane, and guess what? Spectre says, free farm.
Yeah, Illidan gets to see a creep this game. He doesn't have boots either. At least he can dagger through the trees. Going for a Desolate max this game, so obviously the nuke is kind of the safer build, but Desolate in the mid game. There's a lot of squishy heroes on Dignitas. This Leshrac, Nyx Assassin, even Visage as the early to mid game, pretty vulnerable to that Desolate damage. So they're scrapping, they're basically saying we're going to lose this lane, but in the mid game, our ability to find kills will more than make up for it. The Universe still doing well bottom lane, 60-5, but KSI,
good catch-up.
Actually doing a nice job of keeping up the pace.
Yeah, Nature's Prophet has deceptively good base damage as well as good animation, so he could actually do a decent job lasting even against Iron Shell. His lane is constantly pushed, which actually means that Nature's Prophet is going to have a tough time teleporting away because he's going to lose his tower if he does. KSI down to about half HP, and Universe starting to really play aggressive even under the enemy tower. He's got to be very careful because there is a Sprout available, and he does get sprouted. However, a tower is not working for him.
Yeah, he's got tangos. He had vacuum if he needed. Not really in any particular danger, but just a nice harassment from KSI for the time being. Our mid lane, 18-6, crazy. The pool advantage really make a difference here. Still keeping up with the CS of Snaking, even though he's got level 3 refraction now. Hasterun bottled up for him. He's going to be hitting level 6 soon. And of course, this is where Puck can really help bail out a lane, even if it's going poorly. And that top lane isn't going that poorly. Illidan died once, yes, but he's level 5. He'll have boots soon. Boots and Magic Stick. Obviously, Spectre needs a lot of farm later on to be an impact hero, but I feel once this Puck hits level 6, especially with the Hasterun, he's the hero that can really rotate off this lane and make plays happen, where Snake King, much more reliant on the Darkseer to come and help him, surge him into fights, or on just farming up those mobility items, like the Phase Boots, the Blink Dagger, the drums. So look for Crazy to be the one who really sets the tempo, and in fact, what do you know? He's heading bottom. They want to slow Universe down. He's winning that 1v1 matchup, but he won't be for long. Not if this gank works. In comes Crazy. Dream Coil's there. He let the surge come out. Universe running in circles. A merry-go-round for him, but there's still access to a coil. He's fighting his way out. He might get a kill. No, not the case. KSI with the ult. So now the two solos for Dignitas, or for VP, starting to really make moves, and now the Courier could be in trouble. Well, the Haster runs out. Should be okay.
Fine. I think he's looking to think about that orb and using it for the kill, but...
Oh, he really wants
this. I'm not sure if that's a good use of his time, but...
That's a low percentage play.
Yeah. I mean, Dignitas trialing up top, I don't think they're doing enough. The pulls has really gone up for Virtus Pro. You talked about the levels of Spectre. Spectre's not really looking to get farm against the trialing. He's looking for simply for that level 6. He has that level 6, so another gank that happens on the bot lane, look towards him to actually hunt in for the KSs, because that's what he's going to be looking for.
He's level 6 against an offensive trid, and now he has 0 support. There's not even anyone in the lane. The Chen's in the enemy jungle. The Venges as well.
The Venges level 3.5. That's not too bad against offensive trialing. I think they're doing an excellent job, and suddenly this Templar Assassin might be running to her doom.
Snake Haney thinks it's a good opening for him. Remember, he might have access to Surge as nearby is Universe. Drops a trap, starts to go on KSI. Now the Haunt comes in, though. That Desolate damage is going to start to chew through once the Refraction wears off. There's your stun. Snake King dropping fast. Snake King, will he fall? He's gone under cover of Mel, but he comes out. He'll go down. Universe is well in trouble. 2 heroes on the run. Now AUI 2000 TPing into the fight, but perhaps TPing into his doom. There's going to be an ultimate soon for this Pug if he needs it. Won't need it. Virtus Pro, 3 kills, and on all 3 farmers, too. That is an absolute disaster for Dignitas. You run that aggressive China with Leshrac. The other thing you can often do is take a tower early. AUI had his Ring of Basilius off. They didn't pressure the tower, and it looks like VP will be the first ones to strike gold.
Maybe not. Here comes the teleportation from Snake King. He's 1v2. The trap's going to slow on everybody. The sun comes on, and his refraction charges are being burnt away. Silence, Dream coiled up, and Snake King just dies. Over-aggressive TP, and they're not done yet.
1 by 1.
Next Assassin's going to come in, but that's more than enough time for them to disengage. Again, this lineup featuring Nature's Prophet Spectre looks really weak during the lane stage, but once they survive that part, it is easy pick off wherever they go.
It really seemed like Dignitas had the perfect tri-lane to just shut down Spectre. They had Ward seen the pull, they had Ward seen the Chen's rotation for the jungle, NS had no smokes, never did VP actually try to gank the tri-lane, and they got the first blood. You'd think that would be a recipe for shutting down Spectre, but if you don't keep the pressure up, all of a sudden you have this. Illidan, level 7, he's now got a little bit of gold, he's picked up his boots, a completed Magic Wand. Yes, he's not a rich Spectre, but just getting levels on Spectre and then having other heroes who start the fight, you come in with Haunt, you clean up some kills, and Spectre is one of the things he really excels at as a carry is just cleaning up assists and joining fights late and finding kills.
Snaking in big trouble. Magic Missile is going to hit right now, and a ton of spell going on. That is the third death on a Templar Assassin, a hero that really needs to snowball out of control early. And
they have no vision. He is playing completely in the dark right now.
I mean, this is one thing that Dignitas is famous or perhaps infamous for. They like to play the early game without wards. They're so greedy. This courier about to run to his doom because they definitely see it coming. Oh my goodness.
God.
Anything that could go wrong is going wrong for Dignitas, and I'm not sure how they make this recovery.
They got the first blood, and all of a sudden they find themselves trailing 6-1. And Dignitas statistically has had the upper hand on Virtus Pro over their lifetime. They are 8-3 against VP all time, but I don't know if this is win number 9, Lumi. It's not looking that way right now, so well, we'll take a step back from the action and just what is the strategy for each team? Oh no, another 4-man disconnect. It should be said maybe the internet for Dignitas not cooperating, that could have some bearing on the way these fights are turning out, but obviously that's not VP's fault. It's out of their control. They'll reconnect now. So VP leading 6-1. I imagine they just want to sit back, take fights selectively, and farm their Spectre, right? That's sort of their game plan.
Oh, Virtus Pro, they're just cruising right now. I mean, they don't even need to farm that Spectre. If you look at her build, she's going for max Desolate. So anytime she haunts in, she's going to get a ton of damage, and she's going to get a kill or two.
So then Dignitas, the pressure is on them to
It
make
is on them.
happen.
They need to actually go for a hero pick off or two and then push tier 1 towers. I mean, at this point, even though down behind by, what's the goal check? Quite a bit, 3,000-4,000. That's like 1 or 2 tier 2. That's not that bad. Like, especially if you look at AI 2000, he's got the max Diabolic Edict build. If they get some hero kills, those towers should come quite quickly.
You know, one concern, though, is Diabolic Edict is not useful in the mid-game for this lineup, because Chen Creeps will tank it, Spectre Illusions will tank it, and Tropic Treants will tank it.
Everything will tank it.
So you look at that skill build, and Dignitas must have been thinking, we could take the tier 1 top very early. But then they kept the Reign of Basilius off, they didn't really contest the pull too much, and they didn't really try to push that much. So now they're going to enter the mid-game with, I mean, one of their weaknesses in their draft that I was looking at, we never really had a chance to talk about it, they don't have that much counter push. They have Nyx Impale, which is very short range. They have no Lightning. They have Vacuum, and they have Ion Shell. TA doesn't really want to approach the creep wave. Then all of a sudden she gets sprouted, she gets coiled, her refraction runs out, she might die. I think Dignitas is going to have a hard time stopping the push of VP, even though they're the lineup that wants to be aggressive.
Yeah, normally I would say your counter push comes from your Darkseer. If you have a good, like, level 10, 11, you surge in Vacuum and suddenly kind of hell breaks loose in front of the tower. You're clumped up, and then AI is going to drop a Splurf into Pulse Nova, and that's going to be their split push. But unfortunately, they don't even have the levels for that. So Dignitas playing from behind on all fronts.
Chupa.
Chupa, what's that mean?
I don't know. I think it's Spanish for something.
Oh, did somebody say Chupa?
Someone just drew it on the screen.
Oh, okay. Well,
that's neither here nor there.
Maybe the Chinese.
You can't even translate the Chinese for us.
Man, I definitely can.
Let alone your
Chinese
Spanish.
Is hard. So is
English. Chinese is hard at least, but I'd learned. See, I was an idiot in school. My parents were like, David, you should really take Spanish. It's actually a useful language. And I, of course, being a rebellious 13-year-old, said, no, I'm not going to take Spanish, mostly because you told me to take Spanish. I'm going to take French. Guess how often I use French nowadays?
Yeah, but you could go Palasson.
Le Poisson.
Now, who's that player?
Palasson.
Palasson, yeah.
I think it's Palasson or something. I don't know.
Yeah, but which team was he on?
Oh, he was one of the players for First Departure.
Okay.
Who have since disbanded and reformed. And
we had great fun pronouncing his names back in the TI2 or TI3 East.
Yeah, I don't think that's the correct pronunciation, but my minimal background in French led me to abuse his name in such a fashion.
Right, so back in this game, I think Dignitas needs to go for pickoffs, and that's going to be maybe coming from your Templar Assassin, maybe coming from your Vistage, and then after that, they need a tower. They need so much gold, but if you look at how Virtus Pro is playing, they're warding the hell out of the Radiant jungle. Everywhere you go in the Radiant jungle, it is seen, so they're getting extra farm from the enemy jungle, and it's hard for Dignitas, because like you said, they're playing without sight. This only Observer Ward is not really seeing much.
Yeah, one defensive Observer Ward. I guess they're kind of caught between a rock and a hard place here, because they need some more farm. They need the mech on the Darkseer to take fights. VP have a lot of AoE in the mid game, a lot of burst damage as well. They need level 6 on their Nyx, which they now have. But even then, you'd like your Nyx to, say, hit level 8 to 9, start leveling up the Carapace, really be a big contributor in the fights. and Snake King needs items. So I think actually Dignitas can't really fight now. In fact, dare I say, I think VP might win those team fights.
Yeah, it's tough.
So now they have to sit back and farm, but that overall, in terms of the long-term game plan, obviously plays in the VP's hands. They're the team with the Prophet with the Midas, the Chen who's now hit level 6, who's farming towards the mech, NS, Buckler up, 1,000 gold up,
Look
very
at
close to
Smile.
that mech. And are they really doing this? Early medallion on Smile, 1 point wave of terror, into the Roshan pit.
Yeah,
they
1
go.
point wave in the tier as well as a 1 point vengeful aura, as that is a ton of right click damage. KSI making some trees to tank it up. They're doing this undetected. Meanwhile, up the top line here, they're going to focus on the Storm Mage, and Storm Mage, well, it's going to go down.
See
Storm
ya,
Rage.
Illidan. Yeah.
Maybe, barely. But this is what they need to do, right? They're going to give up a lot in terms of the Roshan, but they need to push. Unfortunately, they don't see anybody. Everybody's missing off the map, so they're afraid. Now they will know A just got picked up by Puck.
Good news, though, is Illidan just bought, so he has his phase boots, and they got Roshan, which more than makes up for any gold loss for him, and for the team overall, obviously a huge boon. Also denies it to Dignitas, who have a TA, have a Darkseer, they've got that natural mech buyer, they've got the Visage Familiars in the mid-game, and the minus armor for Meld. Dignitas, if they were ahead, could have snuck Roche. So VP deny it to Dignitas, get it for themselves, and they don't actually lose the tower top. Here comes the TP from Illidan, just by himself for the time being. Still the tier 1 stands with a level 3 Edict, aggressive trying against the Spectre Venge dual lane. And now we'll see a familiar snipe by Crazy, just more gold into VP's pockets. Pressure's on Dignitas, Lumi. How are they going to respond?
Yeah, they need to get a couple more kills. You do see AUI just camping up top, looking for Illidan. Not really going to find space, which is going to really put him out of anybody's harm's way. And the rest of Dignitas playing uncharacteristically defensive. Universe rotating up top. I don't think you make this 2-man kill, because he's actually deceptively tanky, the Spectre, and I really don't think they have enough burst damage.
They're going on Snake King bottom lane. He will pop Refraction. Do they have enough to remove it? They drop the Dream Coil now. They are diving between the tier 1 and the tier 2, but in comes Spectre. The Haunt Illusion is there. They haven't brought Snake King down yet. Illidan will dagger through to get the kill, also clipping Universe and driving him off the lane. And now 4 heroes grouped up. Make it 5 as KSI is TP'd in to join the fight. First tower goes to the team with Spectre. Not too often you can say that.
Yeah, now AUI wasn't actually up top here and pushing, and Fog Dota making that rotation. He's not really going to push. And here comes a 5-man push. You predicted the early 5-man from Virtus Pro. Now we see it. And again, really don't need a Spectre. That needs to be like, what, Radiance or Diffusal Blade. You just need a Spectre with Max Desolate. This is something that we don't see from Asian teams at all. And here's the true power of this hero. Really doing a ton of work. A Templar Assassin Teleport, that's aggressive.
And now Snake King TP's into the middle of the entire enemy team, but this time he does a backup. Tower dropping fast, it won't be denied. And now the fight breaks out. Remember, Puck's got the Aegis. Not the hero you want to really start the fight on. There's no Dream Coil, but they've already brought down the Nyx. Now the TA to fall as well. Universe on the back foot, and in the midst of it all, another 3-man, or make it a 2-man disconnect. 2 of these heroes still alive, running to their base. I don't know if anyone makes it out alive. Venge has another stun cooling down. Illidan is in the middle of it, duking it out with Universe, and this is just a complete disaster of a game 1 for Team Dignitas.
Yeah, an opportune time to have a pause and a disconnect. But Universe could have popped his buckler. That would have been big.
You think, Fogged?
Fog used the Spike Carapace way too late. He should have stunned, or he should have hit the Puck and then spike immediately, so the Puck would stun himself. But yeah, just a ton of misplays, maybe due to lag, and well.
Yeah, it's what is going on? Yeah, I'm not sure how that would happen in Soviet Russia, we can see. Oh, I love NS. GG go next. Dignitas, I mean, let's be honest, Lumi, they probably are beat at this point.
Yeah,
they're down 10k to a Midas Prophet and a Spectre. And even Avenge, one of the stronger late game supports. You probably ain't coming back from that with the lineup Dignitas has.
This is one of those drafts where you say, oh, easy win for Team Dignitas, and then they just don't, they cannot capitalize it or don't capitalize it, whatever you call it, and they just get rolled.
Again, maybe the ping's a factor. Maybe the lag was part of the issue why they didn't contest the tri-lane more aggressively. I actually hear the throne dying, but the game's still paused.
Yeah, the throne is completely gone from the map. It's just chilling.
I'll try to unpause here. Oh, I can't. Not as a broadcaster. Oh,
Right,
here we go. So game 1, book it. It is going to VP.
Yep. Easy win.
VP take it, and they took it, I mean, convincingly. I got to say, if it was, maybe it was the lag for Dignitas, but if it wasn't the lag as to why they didn't play more aggressively in the tri-lane, then that was just a big misplay from them.
You know how sometimes, like 10 minutes before the ball game, everybody goes out of court and shoots some hoops just to get a little bit of warm-up?
Yeah.
Dignitas did not get that warm-up. This is their warm-up game, I hope.
They came in cold.
Yeah, they came in cold, and it showed, right? Like, tri-lane didn't do anything.
Check style. Just
yeah. Templar Assassin should have won mid.
Yeah.
Didn't win it hard enough.
Well, the puck got pulled, so I would say it's more even.
I think she was winning the CS, and then Puck just went over the map ganking.
Well, that's sort of how the matchup works, though. TA isn't as good at ganking without runes.
Right. So when Puck ganks, she needs to push down her tower.
Yeah.
With Side Blades and
didn't do that,
Refract,
that's
she didn't
true.
do it enough, quickly enough.
Prophet ult helped out there.
Yes.
Slowed down the push.
Yep.
That first, I just like the movement from Crazy a lot. That first gank bottom lane, because Universe was winning that lane, and Universe is just, I would say he's the strongest player in Dignitas, certainly in the early to mid game. That guy wins his lane like 90% of the time, especially a Darkseer. So shutting him down early was very smart. And I liked how VP just played very defensively, but then when they saw openings, then they took the fights.
Yep.
They weren't VP. I mean, we know them for their Roshan, their headlong aggression, but this was more controlled.
Yeah, it was like good aggression. It wasn't
Yeah.
like EG-esque diving for mad kills.
No
This is like-
YOLOs.
no YOLOs. This is just like, you only live once, but we live once smartly.
Smartly indeed.
Yeah, that was horrible. Let's take it
All
over
right,
now.
guys, we're taking it out. It's game 1 in the books now. VP are leading this best of 3, 1-0. After this series, we do have another best of 3 between Kaipi as well as EG. If you haven't already heard, Corsair are doing a giveaway. Head over to gc.corsair.com for your chance to win Dota TV tickets
I like
as
that.
well as a fully loaded computer. We want you there. gc.corsair.com. We'll take a quick break. We'll come back and we'll be live with game 2. Stay with us.